Does the kirtan come through now?
Yeah, I can hear it. We're on YouTube. Yeah, I can hear it well.
Does it serve the purpose?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the-
Should we begin?
Yeah.
Is the kirtan soft now behind us?
Actually, I can't hear it now.
Good. That's
Okay, I'll start then. Yeah. Welcome everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Monday, June 16th, 2025, and today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16, Text 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, I will start, if that's all right. Tatra girastasta iti visruta vikrama shrosyati atmashita gata pratu parakrama. Translation. In this way, when the chivalrous activities of King Pratu come to be known to the people in general, King Pratu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities. Purport. To artificially advertise oneself and thus enjoy a so-called reputation is a kind of conceit. Prithvi Maharaj was famous amongst the people because of his chivalrous activities. He did not have to advertise himself artificially. One's factual reputation cannot be covered. Okay. I now I can't hear you either, Maharaj, even though you're unmuted.
maybe
Yeah.
that's because my voice is shot.
Yeah. Do you want others just to read?
No, I'll say something. Om Jnana Timidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamai Tadati Shapadam Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Vimate Bhakti Vedanta Sham Namaste Saraswati Deve Govinavadi Prachara Nirvishesha Bhakti. So we saw this in Prabhupada's life, that he didn't advertise himself. He advertised Krishna. And by Krishna's arrangement, Prabhupada has also become glorified. But he never tried to push his own words. We were hearing the other day how someone requested that there should be a biography during Prabhupada's lifetime. And Prabhupada, should be interviewed for a biography. And wasn't very interested. So it's significant. The Vikrama, Vishuddha Vikrama. If one's activities are actually glorious, then that will come to be known by nature's arrangement. And if one is not glorious, then just trying to promote oneself will advertise that one is conceited. Hare Krishna.
The next verse, Saraswati Mataji, are you available?
Pranams Param Pujya Maharaj Shri and all the Vaishnavas. Text 27. Disho Vijyate Pratiruda Chakra Swate Jasto Patita Loka Shalya Sura Surendre Rupa Kiyamana Mahanu Bhavo Bhavita Patir Bhuvaha. Translation. No one will be able to disobey the orders of Prithu Maharaj. After conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizens. Then he will be recognized all over the world. At that time, both the Suras and Asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities. Purport. At the time of Maharaj Prithu, the world was ruled by one emperor, although there were many subordinate states. Just as there are many united states in various parts of the world, in olden days the entire world was ruled through many states, but there was a supreme emperor who ruled over all subsidiary states. As soon as there were some discrepancies in the maintenance of the Varna ashram system, the emperor would immediately take charge of the small states. The word Utpatita Loka Shalya indicates that Maharaj Prithu completely uprooted all the miseries of his citizens. The word Shalya means piercing thorns. There are many kinds of miserable thorns that pierce the citizens of a state, but all competent rulers, even up to the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, uprooted all the miserable conditions of the citizens. It is stated that during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, there did not even exist severe cold or scorching heat, nor did the citizens suffer from any kind of mental anxiety. This is the standard of good government. Such a peaceful and prosperous government, devoid of anxiety, was established by Prithu Maharaj. Thus, the inhabitants of both saintly and demonic planets were all engaged in glorifying the activities of Maharaj Prithu. Persons or nations anxious to spread their influence all over the world should consider this point. If one is able to eradicate completely the threefold miseries of the citizens, he should aspire to rule the world. One should not aspire to rule for any political or diplomatic considerations. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Praise of King Prithu by the Professional Reciters. Om Gyananti Mirindasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So Srila Prabhupada very concisely tells us of the characteristics of an ideal ruler. An ideal ruler is always a pure devotee. There's no question about that. And it's by the dint of that pure devotee's bhakti that he receives the mercy of Krishna. And therefore, that would be called the perfect kingdom state. It's said in the verse, in all Disha Vijatya. So in every direction, it was Digvijay. King Prithu was Digvijay. He could conquer everything in all 4 directions. And it's also clearly mentioned how, because of his purity and because of his power in devotional service, he was able to completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizens. And just as a reminder, we know what the threefold miseries are. Adi Devika, those miseries that we receive from demigods, or those in charge of the material cosmos administration. Adi Bautik, those that we receive from other living entities. And Adi Devika was the one from the demigods, and Adi Bautika is from other living entities. And Adhyatmika is the ones that we receive from our own mind, body, ailments, and things like that. So Srila Prabhupada says that unless a ruler is able to completely eliminate these three kinds of miseries for their citizens, they don't really deserve to be sitting on any throne or really ruling any state, country, etc. Srila Prabhupada mentions how even up to the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, everything was happening systematically in the sense that the citizens were free from these kinds of material miseries. I don't believe, and Maharaj can correct me, I don't believe that this necessarily means that all citizens were then liberated from the cycle of birth and death, but definitely providing these kinds of provisions where they are free from the threefold miseries definitely puts them in a position where they could have the peace in which to execute and progress in spiritual life. Peace is important, mental peace. That is very important in order for one to then become firmly fixed in devotional service. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Well, yes, the last thing that I wanted to say is that Srila Prabhupada, in the translation, actually, it's mentioned that not only was Maharaj Prithu glorified and recognized for his chivalrous act and his glorious character by suras. Suras are devotees, but in fact, even asuras, those of demoniac nature, will also join in glorifying and appreciating Maharaj Prithu, even if it's done begrudgingly. You find that someone with an ounce of integrity, even if they be an enemy, if they're facing an opponent who has all these glorious characteristics and personality, then they're going to appreciate it, even in combat. So we know that King Prithu, this is unrivaled heroism, and so it's going to be appreciated by everyone. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we can't hear you, Maharaj.
That's how it is. I picked up a cold during Ratit on Saturday, so my voice is kind of shot, but we'll do the best we can with it.
It seems like it's picking it up sometimes as background noise. That's why it's not just soft, but it's like muted. That's what maybe is happening.
Say that again, what's going on?
And sometimes when we can't hear you, I wonder if it's just picking it up as background noise.
Oh, well, okay, let's just see if I can set my settings. Meanwhile, carry on.
Okay. Now we're on chapter 17.
There's something in the chat.
We have something in the chat. Okay. Yasya Prasano Bhagavan Guner Maitri Adi Bir Hari Tasme Amanti Bhutani Nimnam Apa Iva Svayam. Unto one who has transcendental qualities due to friendly behavior with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities offer honor, just as water automatically flows down by nature.
Nice.
We can hear you, Maharaj.
Okay. Hare Krishna. 7 to 8 is my class. Okay, let's carry on. Maharaj Prithu becomes angry at the earth. Text 1.
Okay. We have Naveen Prabhu. Would you like to read? Or are you able to?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can read. Maitreya Uvacha Evam Sa Bhagavan Vanya Kapito Guna Karma Bihi Chandayam Asa Tan Kamai Pratipuja Vinandyacha. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued. In this way, the reciters who were glorifying Maharaj Prithu readily described his qualities and chivalrous activities. At the end, Maharaj Prithu offered them various presentations with all due respect and worshipped them adequately. Should I continue to?
Yeah. Continue unless you want to comment.
Nothing.
Okay. Text 2.
Text 2. Brahmana Pramukhan Varnan Prityamatya Pudasa Paran Jana Padan Shreni Prakriti Samapujayat. King Prithu thus satisfied and offered all respect to all the leaders of the Brahmanas and other castes, to his servants, to his ministers, and to the priests, citizens, general countrymen, people from other communities, admirers, and others, and thus they all became happy.
You can read all the way up to text 5. And
there's a comment here from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that he respected them all, saying sweetly, "Blessings to you. If I protect you, I will be serving you." Hare Krishna.
Text 3. Vidura Vacha Kasmad Dadar Go Rupam Daritri Bahu Rupini Yam Dudoha Pratus Tatra Ko Vatso Dohanam Chakim. Translation. Vidura inquired from the great sage Maitreya, "My dear Brahmana, since Mother Earth can appear in different shapes, why did she take the shape of a cow? And when King Prithu milked her, who became the calf? And what was the milking pot?" Prakritya Vishama Devi Krita Tena Samakatam Tasya Medham Hayam Deva Kasya Hetor Apaharat. The surface of the earth is by nature low in some places and high in others. How did King Prithu level the surface of the earth, and why did the king of heaven, Indra, steal the horse meant for the sacrifice? Sanat Kumarad Bhagavato Brahman Brahmavid Uttamat Labdva Jnanam Savigyanam Rajasi Kam Gatim Gata. Translation. The great saintly king, Maharaj Prithu, received knowledge from Sanat Kumar, who was the greatest Vedic scholar. After receiving knowledge to be applied practically in his life, how did the saintly king attain his desired destination? Purport. There are 4 Vaishnav Sampradayas of disciplic succession. One Sampradaya comes from Lord Brahma, one from the goddess of fortune, one from the Kumaras, headed by Sanat Kumara, and one from Lord Shiva. These 4 systems of disciplic succession are still going on. As King Prithu has illustrated, one who is serious about receiving transcendental Vedic knowledge must accept a guru, or spiritual master, in one of these 4 disciplic successions. It is said that unless one accepts a mantra from one of these sampradayas, the so-called mantra will not act in Kali Yuga. Many sampradayas have sprung up without authority, and they're misleading the people by giving unauthorized mantras. The rascals of these so-called sampradayas do not observe the Vedic rules and regulations. Although they are addicted to all kinds of sinful activities, they still offer the people mantras and thus mislead them. Intelligent persons, however, know that such mantras will never be successful, and as such, they never patronize such upstart spiritual groups. People should be very careful of these nonsensical sampradayas. To get some facility for sense gratification, unfortunate people in this age receive mantras from these so-called sampradayas. Prithu Maharaj, however, showed by his example that one should receive knowledge from a bona fide sampradaya. Therefore, Maharaj Prithu accepted Sanat Kumar as his spiritual master.
You like to comment, Prabhu?
Nothing right now.
In context, when Srila Prabhupada was writing these purports, there was one group particularly that was offering a kind of meditation, and they would give you a private mantra to be kept secret, and you would chant it, I don't know, a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes in the evening, and that would bring you to the transcendental platform. So Prabhupada's purport here can be taken as an oblique commentary on such goings on. Not even an oblique, but a commentary on such things. Hare Krishna. And people were fooled. They would gladly put down money and get their private mantra.
Maharaj, I missed that. Gladly what? To get their private mantra?
Plunk down some money.
Hmm.
Very good business.
Maharaj, do you have anybody there who can read?
Well, I'd have to prospect. Their Vaisheshika Prabhu is about to start class, so I don't want to
Okay.
compete for people's attention.
Okay. So Lakshana Matri, are you available?
Yes, I can read. Hare Krishna. Yachanyat api Krishnasya bhavan Bhagavata Prabho Shravah Sushravasah Punyam Purva Deha Kathashrayam Bhaktaya me Naraktataya Tava Chadoksha Yasa Cha Vaktum Arhasi Yo Duyad Vanya Rupena Gam Imam. Translation. Prithu Maharaj was a powerful incarnation of Lord Krishna's potencies. Consequently, my narration concerning his activities is surely very pleasing to hear, and it produces all good fortune. As far as I am concerned, I am always your devotee as well as a devotee of the Lord, who is known as Adhokshaja. Please therefore narrate all the stories of King Prithu, who in the form of the son of King Vena milked the cow-shaped earth. Purport. Lord Krishna is also known as Avatari, which means one from whom all the incarnations emanate. In Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Lord Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matha sarvam pravartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Thus, Lord Krishna is the origin of everyone's appearance. As far as this material world is concerned, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva are all emanations from Krishna. These three incarnations of Krishna are called Guna avatars. The material world is governed by three material modes of nature, and Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva respectively take charge of the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Maharaj Prithu is also an incarnation of those qualities of Lord Krishna by which one rules over conditioned souls. In this verse, the word adokshaja meaning beyond the perception of the material senses is very significant. No one can perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead by mental speculation. Therefore, a person with a poor fund of knowledge cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since one can form only an impersonal idea on the strength of one's material senses, the Lord is known as Adokshaja. I don't know. Okay.
Do you have any comments there?
No, I don't have any comment. Sorry.
Maharaj? Do you like?
I won't add more here.
Okay. Okay, I'll continue with text 8. Sutta Uvacha Torito Vidura Naivam Vasudeva Katam Prati Prasasyatam Prita Mana Matraya Pratyabhas Basata. Translation. Sutta Goswami continued. When Vidura became inspired to hear of the activities of Lord Krishna in his various incarnations, Maitreya, also being inspired and being very pleased with Vidura, began to praise him. Then Maitreya spoke as follows. Purport. Talk of Krishna Katha or topics about Lord Krishna or his incarnations is spiritually so inspiring that the reciter and hearer are never exhausted. That is the nature of spiritual talks. We have actually seen that one can never become satiated by hearing the conversations between Vidura and Maitreya. Both of them are devotees, and the more Vidura inquires, the more Maitreya is encouraged to speak. A symptom of spiritual talks is that no one feels tired. Thus, upon hearing the questions of Vidura, the great sage Maitreya did not feel disgusted, but rather felt encouraged to speak at greater length. I have no comments there. I'm wondering, Maharaj or others do have.
We see that Vidura was listening attentively, and therefore he asked specific questions. Why did the earth take the form of the cow? Who was the calf? Who is, yes. What was the pot? Then why did Indra steal the horsemen for sacrifice? So he was attentive, he was engaged. It wasn't just that he was absent-minded while Maitreya was speaking. He was very much focused. This cow and calf question is also significant. In the, of course, in the modern context, you just put a machine on the cow and suck out milk. But in the context of Indian villages, the system is that you tie up the cow and then you bring the calf. And the calf, naturally the cow will be affectionate to her calf and she'll let down milk. And the calf will drink some of the milk. And then the calf is taken away And then the cow continues to give milk, which is milked into a bucket, a pail, a pot, something of that nature. So this question is a natural question. So when Prithu Maharaj milked the cow-shaped earth, who was the calf and what was the pot? These are natural questions. Okay.
Saraswati Machi has her hand up.
Yes, I came across an article, actually published in Back to Godhead, and it talks about this thing about the cow and their milking, and it says Sripad Sankaracharya in his poetic brilliance, he's glorifying the Gita, and he draws a metaphor. The Upanishad are compared to a cow. Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, is compared to the milker of the cow. Arjuna, being the direct recipient of the milk, is the calf. Learned scholars and pure devotees are further recipients of the milk. And finally, the nourishing milk that Krishna is drawing is the Bhagavad Gita. So I thought that was so beautiful. Hare Krishna.
You're muted, Maharaj.
Yes, very good.
Raveen Prabhu has a comment. Vayam tu na vichur prama utma shloka vikrame yashrnavatam vasayanam svaru pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment.
Amen.
Saraswati Machi, are you available? The next verse.
Text 9. Metra uvacha yada bhikshita prituranga viprer amantrito janatayascha palaha prajaniranyashiti prista ityakshut kshama deha patim abhyavochan. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, at the time King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and brahmanas and declared to be the protector of the citizens, there was a scarcity of food grains. The citizens actually became skinny due to starvation. Therefore, they came before the king and informed him of their real situation. Purport. Information is given herein concerning the selection of the king by the Brahmanas. According to the Varnashram system, the Brahmanas are considered to be the heads of the society and therefore to be situated in the topmost social position. The Varna Ashram Dharma, the institution of the 4 Varnas and 4 ashrams, is very scientifically designed. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Varna Ashram Dharma is not a man-made institution, but is God-made. In this narration, it is clearly indicated that the Brahmanas used to control the royal power. When an evil king like Vina ruled, the Brahmanas would kill him through their Brahminical powers and would select a proper ruler by testing his qualifications. In other words, the Brahmanas, the intelligent men or great sages, would control the monarchical powers. Here we have an indication of how the Brahmanas elected King Prithu to the throne as the protector of the citizens. The citizens, being skinny due to hunger, approached the king and informed him that necessary action should be taken. The structure of the Varna Ashram Dharma was so nice that the Brahmanas would guide the head of state. The head of state would then give protection to the citizens. The Kshatriyas would take charge of protecting the people in general, and under the protection of the Kshatriyas, The Vaishyas would protect the cows, produce food grains, and distribute them. Shudras, the working class, would help the higher three classes by manual labor. This is the perfect social system. I was actually listening to a class by Srila Prabhupada earlier, where he talked about this spiritual organization and division of mankind. And Srila Prabhupada said, where there isn't such a organized social order, or what really happens is that you've got now a society of animals. So we hear that this is not a man-made division, putting people in different categories. It's something that Krishna has designed so that the objective would be fulfilled, which is that no matter under what gunas one is born, what propensities a person is tempted by or has, no matter where he is placed in the Varna ashram, he can always make progress on the path of bhakti. There's no excuse for anyone to say, oh, well, this and this, this is where I came from, or this is what happened. No matter what your background is, you can always make progress. And that's the actual objective of trying to divide and put mankind into the different varnas and ashrams. And of course, importance is given to the head of any body. Without the head, as they say, it's like a chicken running around without its head. You can't fulfill anything, any goals. So the Brahmins are the heads, and they had the intelligence by which they could guide society based on dharma, shastra, and they removed Vina because they understood that this king was evil and could not fulfill the objectives. And they installed Maharaj Prithu. And of course, now the citizens feel that they can approach the king, because sometimes you find a ruler so evil and cruel and so ignorant and obtuse about whatever's going on in his kingdom, and frankly might not even care if certain class of citizens are starving or don't have the basic necessities of life even. They couldn't care less as long as they are living it up. And we see this in modern society. There's always going to be some that just, they're just in it for themselves, as they say. But we know King Prithu is not that kind of a ruler. And so the citizens feel confident that they can approach the king and let him know that the basic necessities of life are not being met. There's the scarcity of food. People are starving. If you're starving, then it's going to be hard then to execute devotional service. Even Srila Prabhupada said it's not that just because you're not the material body that then you can just ignore it, and you have to take care of the material body. It's a vehicle that can help you to progress in spiritual life. So due attention has to be given to the body. It's just because you're not the material body doesn't mean you can just ignore it. You're inside this material body, and therefore the material body has basic necessities that need to be met. And also when they talk about the Shudras being the working class, now we know in modern society you've got even people that are less than Shudras, Mlechas, Chandalas. They're not even Shudras. So these are some of my comments. If Maharaj can add something and correct. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, you're muted. Yeah.
Thank you. Just that Prithu Maharaj was invited to be Janatasya Pala. Janatasya Pala means the protector of the citizens. The king is not just the ruler, and certainly not meant to be the exploiter or the enjoyer of what the citizens have, but he's meant to be the protector of the citizens. That's the actual role of king. Hare Krishna.
Praveen Prabhu, are you able to read?
Praveen has some sort of comment.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we have a question. Praveen Prabhu writes, so elections only for the Brahmanas, other Satyas or Vaishyas shouldn't be allowed?
It seems indicated here that the Brahmins, those who have vision, those who have detachment, those who have wisdom, they should be the ones to appoint the ruler. Otherwise, what will you get? You'll get the Vaishyas, the people who are business-minded, and their vision is, how can we get a ruler who will favor our economic interests? They won't necessarily take into account the higher duties of the king or the higher necessities of the state. They'll look and say, how can the king protect our business, perhaps push forward our business so that we can knock out our rivals from other countries who are also making airplanes or opening restaurants, so on. We can, yes. My mind went off a little bit there.
There's Svati.
I hope that was cogent. I'm not sure about the last thing I said.
We have a hand from Saraswati Machi.
Yeah, Maharaj Shri, this seems to be sort of a recurring question. In terms of here, we understand that no matter which caste or varna or ashram you happen to fall in, the king would equally provide sustenance for everyone. So this reoccurring question always comes up, and I'm asked that so many times about our focus in feeding those that are starving in the world and what our efforts are to try and eliminate starvation. So I'm wondering what sort of an answer we should really be giving out, because yes, it's true, the king here, he's going to give attention to everyone in his kingdom. It's not that only the Brahmins should be fed and, the Shudras, let them starve. So Maharaj, I'm wondering, like in terms of our ISKCON, there is this, how much of our focus and attention should be diverted to those that are starving. Hare Krishna.
Everyone is starving. And why are they starving? They're starving because they've turned away. They've turned away from Krishna. Vimukha Chaitasa Indriyartha, and they're chasing false happiness. Prabhupada didn't make it a, what's the word, a headline item of ISKCON to be feeding the poor. There's no end to it. Feeding the poor, providing housing and blankets, campaigning for this, making this a better world, essentially. That's not the business of Hare Krishna movement. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't open any hospitals, didn't open any feeding institutions or educational institutions. He gave people Krishna consciousness as the great necessity of human life. If you ask Harvard University, how many people do you feed every day? That's not their business. Their business is to give, high quality education. So, of course, high quality mundane education. Our business is to give high quality spiritual education. So why ask us? Ask Harvard. Why aren't you feeding hungry people? Why are you wasting your time educating scholars or educating, young men and women? You should be feeding people. Why single us out? Complain about Harvard. And we'll give the same answer that Harvard will give, that that's not our mission. That if people are educated and people are, trained to be the future leaders of the world, then they'll deal properly with these things. It's not our job. In any case, the people are starving on account of past impious activities, and that can't be reversed just by opening feeding programs or what have you. It can't be reversed by any amount of effort, but all the problems can be solved if they become Krishna conscious. Prabhupada gave that example that I've cited many times, that you meet some rich man's son, and then you see him starving a few days later on the street. His problem is not that he's in need of food. His problem is that he's forgotten his relationship with his father. If you revive that relationship, then all the boy's problems will be solved. But if you just give him, some bread, problem continues. Therefore, it's false philanthropy. It doesn't really solve the problem before and maybe make it worse. Hare Krishna.
We can pause here for kirtan. Saraswati Mataji, are you available to lead kirtan?
Can I pass?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Venkatesh Prabhu, are you available?
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Yaswari Nidhi Vidyavani Ashakari Hidayah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Chaitanya Yadava Yadava Sivasana Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Shwal Acharya Ashtotra Shataji Shri Vaishnav Tulsi Bhakti Vishnu Prabhupada Ki Jai Antakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Karo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shri Vasudeva Gaura Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopala Shri Radha Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Radhan Ki Jai Yogi Prabhupada Ki Jai Yamuna Puridam Ki Jai Gangamai Yamunamai Ki Jai Tusi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Gaura Vrinda Ki Jai all verses of devotees, all verses of devotees, all verses of devotees, all verses of Vishnu Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami ki jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Govinda Hari Hari Bo. Thank you very much to all. Hare Krishna.